Okay, let's watch what happened in Australia. I think something good happened.
On Saturday, Australia went to the polls to elect their new government. And only a couple of months ago, it looked like Peter Dutton's coalition were on...
I heard a podcast in my car, and this is what I know. Australia had like a guy, 62 years old, the normal guy, and they also have... And the other guy was a Trumper. He was very Trumpy. For example, cutting on federal spending, and he was kind of hype. But then when Trump, like they said, the Australian election was decided by Trump, because Trump is now a bit of an idiot who with his tariffs and stuff. And then the voters understood, the Trump guy is kind of an idiot, so let's vote for the other guy, the red guy. That's kind of what happened.
Oust Anthony Albanese's incumbent Labour government. But after a sudden swing in the polls, Labour actually ended up winning a larger majority than they did in 2022, paving the way for another 3 years of Albanese's cautious progressivism. So in this video, we're going to take a look at Australia's electoral system, what happened on Saturday, and what this means for Australia going forwards.
Trump has a lot of impact on a lot of elections right now, because there's a lot of people that want to be like Trump. So if Trump is doing well, they win elections. If he's not doing well, they lose elections, as we see in Australia. Ken Doodle, that's where we agree on, my friend. That's where we agree. I should moderate. Didn't I make you moderator once? So my channel is more balanced, but then you did really fucked up shit and I had to unmod you? Wasn't there a thing?
Ever closer to 1 million subscribers.
Here's how they got my vote. I don't have Instagram.
And 68% of you aren't even subscribed yet. So lend us a hand and subscribe today. So before we get into the results, let's start by explaining Australia's electoral system, because it's pretty quirky. Australia has a bicameral parliament with 2 chambers, the Senate
is that an emu and a kangaroo?
Jesus. The House of Representatives is really the House of Government, and it's where most bills originate. The Senate is more of a House of Review that's supposed to review and approve legislation from the House of Representatives. Anyway, the Senate has 76 members, with 12 senators from each state, and 2 more from each of the internal territories.
Sorry, man, but isn't that kind of dumb? Because most Australians live in this state. So why would this state be allowed to have the equal representation? Is that a bit dumb?
Who are elected using the single transferable vote, or STV, election system, with the states and territories functioning as multi-member constituencies. This means that, to get elected, candidates need a set number of votes, known as the quota, and voters can rank multiple candidates in order of preference. First preference votes are then counted up, and any candidate who reaches the quota is elected. Their second preference votes are then redistributed, and then either
this voting system is so complex it will never work in like America.
Candidate
I'm not getting it either.
And their next preference votes are redistributed, or if no candidate reaches the quota, the least popular candidate is removed, and their second preference votes are redistributed. And this process then repeats until the required number of candidates have reached the quota. However, only 40 senators are elected.
There will be a test later, chat.
6 from each state, and all 4
It sounds kind of good though, right? It sounds good.
The House of Representatives, on the other hand, has 151 members, who are elected via single-member constituencies, with each constituency drawn so as to represent an equal number of voters. These MPs are elected using the alternative vote electoral system. This is a bit like first past the post, but if no candidate gets 50% of the votes, then the least popular candidate is eliminated and their second preference votes are redistributed. This process is repeated until one candidate gets above 50% of the vote. Now, AV systems protect against the vote splitting that you risk in a first past the post system, but in practice, the results are actually pretty similar. And historically, about 90% of seats have been won by the candidate who also won the most first preference votes. This difference in the electoral system means
made the shit up. I mean, this is better than having only Republicans and Democrats, bro.
The House of Representatives is usually dominated by MPs from the big parties, but because of the multi-member constituencies, the Senate has more independents and minor party representation. This divergence is exacerbated by the fact that voting is compulsory.
Who the fuck even lives in Australia, man? How is that a real country? If you don't vote
without a good reason, you have to pay a $20 fine, which can help funkier candidates pick up votes from people who would have otherwise just stayed home. And as such, it's very rare for any party to have a majority in both the House and the Senate. Anyway, for most of modern history, Australia's federal politics has been dominated by 2 big parties. On the left, you've got Labour, and on the right, you've got the Liberal National Coalition, generally just known as the Coalition. Elections are held every 3 years, and at the last one,
that's
back
annoying.
in 2022, the coalition, who have been in power since 2013, lost their majority to Labour, winning just 58 seats to Labour's 77. This was the first Labour majority since 2007, and the worst result for the coalition since 1946. The other big story in the election was the success of the Greens, who won 4 seats, and the so-called teal independents, a term used to describe
if you don't vote, you have to pay a $20 fine.
Localist candidates.
I disagree with mandatory voting. That's against the inherent freedom of democracy. A human being should be free, and if they don't want to vote, that's their right.
7 seats, all in urban areas formerly dominated by the coalition. This was in part because Australians were tiring of the
compulsory voting. Yeah, that seems insane.
Collective primary vote share has fallen from about 85%.
I mean, voting is an important thing. Millions of people died for these rights, but if you don't want to vote, that's your
fucking opinion. This erosion of the traditional two-party system has also occurred in other countries with similar political systems.
But then you get the issue of Brexit,
where the 2 main parties.
Look, I hate Brexit. I hate it. But the people voted. That's what democracy is, man. They voted fucking terribly.
Collectively polling at about 40%.
But that's what we have to handle in democracy.
Where the 2 main parties increasingly struggle to achieve outright majorities. Anyway, until quite recently, it looked like the coalition, led by former police officer
just fudge the ballot and you don't get fined.
Were on track to oust Labour.
Unfortunately for Dutton, in the past few weeks, the polls have turned against him. And on Saturday, Labour actually ended up winning by more than they won in 2022.
Oh, nice.
At the time of writing, with about 70% of the votes counted, Labour are projected to win 35% of primary votes and 85 seats in the House of Representatives, while the coalition are on track to win just 31.5% of primary votes and 36 seats. This is obviously a pretty good result for Albanese and Labour, but really they only won this many seats because the coalition...
Yeah, that's what I heard, because this guy is a fucking idiot.
The coalition did terribly, and Labour's primary vote share only increased slightly on 2022. In fact, it's almost exactly the same
pro-death penalty or very pro-death penalty?
Bill Shorten got in
different
2016,
time, man. Different time.
Which he actually lost to Malcolm Turnbull's coalition. The point we're trying to make here
he just copied Trump,
an absolutely terrible result for the coalition, who saw their primary vote share fall by 4
He's
points
Trump on Temu.
And suffered the worst result for any major party since 1949.
So what went wrong for the coalition? Well, as we see it, there are 3 main reasons.
Why does Trump winning make people lean towards conservatives around the world? Trump is a very, very mesmerizing figure that the whole world talks about all the time. Go out on the street, they talk about Trump and Elon. So when you copy Trump and Trump is currently successful, people will be like, man, Trump is doing well. I want a Trump too. But if Trump is doing not so well, like lately, like we see in Australia, like, I don't like the Trump copy, man.
First,
what I learned in my life is that voters are retarded. People that vote are dumb as fuck. They're easily manipulated and vote on emotions. So right now, it was lucky for Labour that Trump is not doing well at the moment.
All suggests that Australian voters liked Dutton less the more they saw of him. And Albanese had a big lead when it came to who
This is why I hate democracy and voting. We need technocracy. People are too dumb.
Second, while Dutton's focus on economic issues, especially inflation, the cost of living, and the housing crisis, originally paid electoral dividends, a series of exaggerations
in Canada, the Liberals
and
also won?
have undermined the coalition's claim to economic competence. For instance, Dutton claimed on multiple occasions that grocery prices had risen by 30%.
Did you see reform doing well in England? I don't know much about happened in England.
$1,300.
Like again, lately I don't pay much attention. This is the first time I look at stuff deeply. I don't pay attention to anything right now, and it feels healthy as fuck. Honestly, man, chat, I'm honest to God. The last week has been one of the best of my life. My real life last week has been so amazing. And a minor part of that is me not looking at politics and the news. I had a great week, man.
Dollars under Labour. But
I was opening my phone in the morning and I always get meme messages in Discord. Some idiot from Discord server, hey Tommy. And normally I would be like, what do you want, asshole? Now I just, block. I'm just... I feel fucking great lately, man.
Remotely true, and inflation has actually markedly fallen in recent months. Similarly, Dutton criticised a recent tax cut introduced by Albanese as fiscally irresponsible, but simultaneously claimed that taxes would ultimately be lower under his government. Thirdly, Dutton has been tarnished by his association with Trump. Now, Dutton originally pitched himself as Australia's Trump whisperer, and was even
I don't know what happened in the UK. Maybe you should watch a video on that.
Australian left for his conspicuous
a third party is now getting strong in the UK,
including
That's something I'm predicting, and I think it's not that crazy. That all across the world, you're gonna now see that people are so tired of political systems they will vote for outsiders. In Germany, the two main parties are getting weaker and weaker. All across the world, people are more and more voting for newcomers and stuff. Look at Volt in the European elections.
Plausibly large cuts to the civil service and a referendum on the deportation of criminals with dual citizenship. However, this has actually hurt.
Was that guy just naked? What just happened?
Of criminals.
You guys, fucking Australians, man.
Dual citizenship. However, this has actually hurt Dutton electorally because, well, Trump is pretty unpopular in Australia at the moment for obvious reasons. Nonetheless, Albanese still has a lot to do. While his poll numbers improved during the campaign, this election was probably more about the coalition's failures.
Gotta do me vote now, mate.
And he'll need to make more progress on fixing the economy, and especially Australia's disastrous housing crisis, if he wants to win again. At TLDR News, we're always trying to help you learn
Okay, that's how it happened in Australia. Cool. I will add one more video before Skyrim. Stellaris is happening very soon, though. Something happened in the UK. I have no idea. I have no idea. They had like local votes or some shit. I don't know. Let's take a look. I have no idea what happened.
To many, the local elections just aren't something that sounds interesting. While determining who is responsible for bin collection or managing local councils might be important to local people, nationally, people tend to not pay that much attention. I can't go vote, honey. I have to watch TommyKay and talk shit in his chat. However, it's worth noting that not only is elections actually far more important than that, with councils assuming responsibility for everything.
Listen, you fuckers. You want to play games? If someone gifts 34 subs in one go, I promise an 8-hour Skyrim stream tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. 34 gifted in one go. Yeah, capitalism. Don't do it. It's a trick. I'm buying you, you idiot. Don't do it.
From education.
Why 34, not 33? Because, I don't know. Anyway, it's watch video.
Regulations. These particular elections hold even more weight than usual. And as such...
Today, I'm going to sound like an asshole. Today, I was under a lot of people. I was among a lot of other humans. And everybody was so obese. I don't know if I sound like an asshole here, but lately, when I leave the house, people are so fucking obese lately. I don't know. I don't know if that's a fucking... I don't know if that's insensitive, man, but... I feel like people are getting more and more fat.
The media is keeping a close eye on them to see exactly how each of the parties are doing. That's because this is the first real test for many of them since the general election last year. And as we saw last night, it seems that some of the parties have done better than others. So
okay, wait, what? So local states had local votes, and now we look at what that tells us.
In this video, we thought we'd dive into the results and have a look at...
You did vote, Doncaster. Feedback, did you vote?
What it means for each of the main parties.
UK is so weird, man. They have like a new leader every 2 weeks. What did you vote for, Dave? I'm not going to tell you, Tommy. I'm telling you.
After 14 long years out of power, how's Starmer doing at the helm of the UK? Well, it's a mixed bag. So check out our analysis of Labour's leader, their foreign policy and economic issues in our magazine
I voted for the
Read more by clicking the link in the description.
That's what me did.
Now, it's worth starting by explaining precisely what happened last night. In total, 24 of England's 317 councils held...
Wait, 317?
Elections, electing over 1,600 councillors.
Jesus Christ.
4 regional mayors and 2 local mayors were also elected, alongside a single MP in Runcorn and Helsby. Now, we should explain off the bat that as a result of the timing of this video's release, we don't actually have the results for a lot of the elections that took place last night. We do, however, have the results for a handful of mayoral elections and the by-election, which should still be enough for us to say.
I have to care about this because today... Did I just tell you the truth now? I don't care anymore what you guys think about my yapping. Today, me and Lisa were like discussing, without even trying to mean too much, that if the AfD ever takes over Germany and Germany is becoming like the Fourth Reich, we want to immigrate to the UK, right? We want to get out. We talked about renting out the apartment and shit, even though the Nazis will just steal it from me, won't they? Anyway, and yeah, we were thinking about if shit ever hits the fan, we're going to the UK. Because I know you guys hate the UK, and you guys, oh, you just get stabbed, man. We love the UK. Me and Lisa, we love the UK. I love the UK. It's a beautiful country. I feel so great in the UK.
Tommy, 24 months and talking about Britain. Nigel Farage asked me for his vote in local elections. Unfortunate for him, I'm an immigrant from Lithuania.
Thank you, Quinox, for 2 years, buddy. I know you guys live on the internet, and the UK is so terrible. You go to prison for saying something on the internet. I fucking love the UK, man. My favorite country in the world. Beautiful.
Teeth into. So let's start with the mayoral results. At first glance, you might think
only 35% of London is English. Didn't you say you're washing your car? Is there a stat? How many inhabitants? By the way, we have to talk that that London is a very international hub, one of the biggest in the world, which obviously attracts a lot of foreigners. Is there a stat how many inhabitants of London are of English descent? Because I think you're very wrong. So he says 35% of London is native English. What, Villa? There's not a single official statistic that precisely states how many inhabitants of London are English, primarily because the UK consensus doesn't ask about ancestry, which I fully agree on. Key statistics from 2021 show that 53% of London is white, with 36% English, Welsh, Scottish, and other Irish Europeans 17%. Remaining 46% is made of various ethnic minorities, as Asian, Black, mixed, and other. So once again, my friend Canned Noodle is wrong. He is wrong. Just wanted to quickly show that Canned Noodle is always wrong.
That it was a good night for Labour, as they held the mayoralties of the west of England, Doncaster and North Tyneside, while Reform won Greater Lincolnshire. But the red on the map...
I wasn't wrong, it was 36%. Yeah, but you are insinuating that the rest is Muslim, Ooga Booga Pakistanis, man, which is not true. That's what you're fucking insinuating, buddy. That's what you're insinuating, my friend. And you were 2% off. That's what you were insinuating. And... oh no, it's 35%. But you know what you were insinuating. And once again, it doesn't mean it's all Pakistanis that will stab you. It's an international hub since ancient times and attracts a lot of foreign assets, companies, food, etc.
Disguises the fact that Labour actually took a real beating in these elections. In all three Labour victories, they were only very narrowly ahead of Reform, who placed second in each. In North Tyneside and Doncaster, both previously reliable Labour
You were right, Noodle, but we both know what you were insinuating.
Reform was only a point or fewer behind Labour. And in the west of England, Reform was less than...
Doncaster, that's where Dave is from. But I think he voted for Hitler. He's just like that.
3 points.
I think a dentist demon.
Which, aside from being worrying for Labour, was probably also disappointing for the Greens, who were hoping to place better. Interestingly, the West of England result is a particularly visible local manifestation of the new, more than two-party system that we may be living in. As the top 5 parties...
That's what I just said. That's what we see a lot. Like in Germany now, maybe more like in European elections, a lot of people are tired of established parties and now vote for new parties.
These were all within 11...
Canned Noodle 1, Tommy 0. Buddy, it's Canned Noodle 1, Tommy 500. Shut up.
...points of each other. If this splitting of British politics persists, and first past the post survives as an electoral system, then we should get used to candidates winning with much smaller percentages of the vote than
that happens a lot now.
One of the most significant of this morning's mayoral results is that from the Greater Lincolnshire mayoral election. This was the first time that the region has held a mayoral election, and it seemed that Reform UK were trying to make a point with their candidate selection. Andrea Jenkins, who, until she lost her seat in last year's election, was a somewhat senior member of the Conservative Party, was selected as Reform UK's candidate. In actually winning...
Wait, she's with Nigel? No, they're bad people? I thought this was like a good thing. Thank you, Dofu. Oh, she's actually an evil fuck?
The Conservative Party was selected as Reform
She's evil?
Am I right as a 23-year-old to not give a fuck about politics anymore? The far right are gonna win eventually, since the left are completely corrupted and incompetent. Just make enough money before World War III so I can go to somewhere safe, or if I can't do that I will off myself before I'm sent to the trenches. No point in voting.
Ineffable, I heavily disagree with you, and I think it's very sad when young people like you think like that. There's a lot of hope. We just saw it in Australia. I think it's very sad when young people think like this. You shouldn't give up. I massively disagree with you, and giving up is what led to disasters of tyranny across the world. The Nazis winning, communism in Russia, Mao Zedong backstabbing the Kuomintang, and you should not give up like that. And I talk to this honestly, man. Let's fucking real talk right now. I had a big talk with Lisa about this today. I know this is very serious right now. Let me put on. This is very, very serious what I mean. I really mean this now. I know you look at the world nowadays and you feel very hopeless. The rich, the oligarchs, Elon, Trump, all these maniacs everywhere, AFD. It is overwhelming how insane everything is. There's war. We're not fixing climate change. It all looks fucking terrible. But I want to I want to appeal to a legendary poem of Nietzsche. Rage. Rage against the dying of the light, my friend. Because if we give up, when good looks away, evil has already won. Sasuke! Why are you and me born to live in the 21st century? Why are you not born in the Middle Ages? Or in Ooga Booga times? What is the biggest threat? I always thought climate change, but no. We live in the world where you cannot be neutral anymore on a moving train. We live in a world now where everyone has to make a stance. Whether you want to make a stance for the wrong side or the right side, at least you have a stance. And I think every young person, and as I do with the stream now, where I'm not centrist anymore, where I'm not gonna try to be neutral anymore, you gotta take a stance. It's becoming too insane. Germany polls 25% for a now provingly, openly defined right-wing extremist party. Trump is going utterly insane in the US, and we just fucking smile and look away. The time has come. The biggest fucking fight of your life. You can have a normal life, have some children, maybe you can afford a house. But the time has come to take a fucking stance in this world and to not just be a quiet little bystander, because history has shown what happens when we're quiet little bystanders. People fucking die and a lot of bad shit happens. It is time to make a stance. It is time to subscribe to TommyKay. And it's time to find the fucking balls and not to write messages like this. I don't want to vote. Everything sucks anyway. That means the evil guys have already won. And you will go down in history as someone that looked away. Anyway, thank you.
In actually winning the election,
so she's actually
and
a bad
by winning comfortably,
and she's winning elections.
Has demonstrated to the Conservative
It may
Party
look bad,
that
but take
Europe has
money
fallen.
anyway.
Only two-handed orc berserker can save it. Thank you, Bazadis, bro.
awarded not only by the Reform Party via candidate selection, but also by voters at the ballot box. Frequently, we hear rumours that Conservatives are considering jumping ship, but so far we've seen very few of them actually make the jump. But Jenkins's victory may serve as something of a catalyst for
They're called Reform and have a tree as a picture. They sound like the favorite TommyKay party, but you're telling me she's Nigel Farage girl?
wavering Conservatives.
What the fuck? They have a tree
who
as a
can see the
picture.
electoral
I like that.
tide shifting against them. Anyway, it doesn't seem that their victory so
That tree
far
isn't
will be
Reform.
the
Okay.
end of things either. Well, we
Don't ever fall for Nazi tits, Tommy. Man, Nazi tits are nice though, right? But you gotta stay strong,
don't have
strong.
the results for the rest of the mayoral elections. It seems likely that they'll...
Be honest for one chat. You know I like to do psychology tests with you. Imagine you're single and you're out with the boys. You go to a red light district, right? And there's a beautiful hooker. It's your birthday. You're not really detached to anything. It's a very ethical hooker place, right? She gets paid well. There's worker rights. And the boys have paid for you. You go up in the room with the girl and you're like, fuck it, let's get my dick sucked. I deserve it for once, right? The girl says, do you want the special or not? You're like, what is the special? She comes out of a room and she wears an SS uniform. She is full of leather and she's ready to rock your world. Will you go or will you not go? The point is, a lot of you will go. It's a weird question. I don't know where this came from. But you guys will go. Okay? A lot of us will go. Okay? It's only a cosplay. But it's a weird fucking psychological question. Most of us will go. Yeah. You're projecting, Tommy? Yeah, maybe I want to fuck Nazi bitches. I don't know.
At least go on to
I don't
win
know.
the Hull and East Yorkshire
It's only
mayoral
4
election.
stream, we're all
For
going.
that election, they selected Luke Campbell, a former gold medal winning boxer and something of a local hero.
I have another question. I'm weird. If your girlfriend, wife, whatever, could do any role play for you, what would you choose? And you only have it one time in your life. After that, she does it never again. That's a great question. Wow, that's a great question. Shadowheart, an elf. Jinx from League of Legends. Nurse. Cristiano Ronaldo. Ayla the Hunter. Stalin. Shrek. I'm so good at making fun questions. If my wife would allow me to have any cosplay, I think for me it would be vampire goth. Like goth. Bit gothic. I think I will choose that. And I think with that I have a great answer. High five, guys. High five. Great questions. Let's go back to politics. Great stream.
If he wins,
Great
which
stream,
polls
guys.
suggest he
Twitch
will,
Prime.
it'll be a demonstration that
Twitch
the
Prime.
populist tactic of choosing celebrities with little political experience can work for reform. And this may well influence
wanna
their
play
candidate
Skyrim.
selection in future elections. But perhaps the biggest result overnight was Reform's victory at the nail-biting Westminster by-election for the seat of Runcorn and Helsby. That's because Reform's candidate beat Labour by just 6 votes.
Oh, wow. Wow. Holy shit. But it's just a small county. It's probably like not many people.
Earning a sizable 15,000 vote Labour majority in the seat.
Wow.
It's Reform's first ever
6
by-election win and puts them
But look,
back
it's
up
only
to
40,000
5
people.
MPs in Westminster, as Rupert Lowe was removed from the party amid a saga at the end of March. Nigel Farage even showed up to the count results himself, highlighting the importance that Reform places on
That guy is such a
and adds to the
fuck
party's
man.
narrative that they have winning potential and are becoming the natural opposition to Labour. So those are the results we have so far. But let's move on and have a look at some of the results we're still expecting to come through throughout the rest of today. As counting didn't begin until this morning, it's unlikely that we'll get the council election results until later in the day. All signs, though,
I used to work for Leeds Council, and councillors really don't have as much power as people think.
Yeah, it's. I think it's important to not feel like these votes are super fucking.
That's because the majority of the
important.
councils up for election yesterday were last elected in May 2021. The Conservatives previously controlled 19 of them. Labour controlled 1, the Lib Dems controlled 3, and Independents controlled 1. While polling is shaky on what exactly is going to happen with these, it's clear that the Tories are going to suffer and lose a decent chunk of them, potentially around 50%, with Reform picking up at least a few of these councils. As for Labour, they went into these elections with fewer seats to lose than the Tories. But the mayoral results today have already demonstrated that Reform are eating away at their votes too. And the only council result we do have, Northumberland, shows that Labour are being hit hard there as well. If all of the polling turns out to be broadly accurate, then it would serve to solidify the broad takeaway message from these elections, that Reform's polling has been accurate and that they're snapping at the heels of the two traditionally main parties. Though as Reform secures a growing number of positions of responsibility, its ability to deliver will come under more scrutiny than ever before. Meanwhile, if you think we've been a little quiet about the Liberal Democrats, that's because the areas in which the Lib Dems are predicted to make gains aren't expected to deliver results until later in the day, while this morning's results have been very much in Reform's favour. If the Lib Dems do end up performing well, as they're expected to, then that will highlight the space they're carving out for themselves as the party for those unhappy with the right-wing shift of both the Tories and Labour, which both have their
She slipped through my fingers like sand. Heard that she had a man. Now I'm just sitting here sad. Oh well, ship sail. She slipped through my fingers like sand.